Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The world is changed by those who refuse to play by its rules. In a world obsessed with hierarchies and labels, there exists a rare breed of individuals who quietly reject the stage, yet manage to control the entire play. They don't crave the spotlight, don't beg for attention, and couldn't care less about being the loudest in the room. And yet their presence is impossible to ignore, their impact seismic. These are the Sigmas, enigmatic game changers who rewrite the rules without asking for permission. Here's a fact to consider. 75% of people conform to groupthink when under social pressure. But Sigmas, they'd rather eat cereal with a fork than follow the herd. They thrive in solitude, think like rebels, and act with precision. They're not loners, they're strategists. They're not aloof, they're focused. They don't just question the status quo, they dismantle it piece by piece while everyone else is too busy scrolling social media to notice. But here's the kicker. Sigmas don't need the world's approval to change it. In fact, the less you notice them, the more dangerous they become. Intrigued? Good. Let's dive into why Sigmas are destined to change the world, and why you might want to rethink everything you thought you knew about power, leadership, and influence. Number 1. They are the balance society desperately needs. The world today is a balancing act on a tightrope, teetering between extremes. It's either loud or silent, chaotic or overly structured, self-obsessed or completely detached. In the middle of this storm, Sigmas stand as the perfect equilibrium society desperately needs but rarely recognizes. They embody the harmony between independence and connection, strength and humility, innovation and tradition. Unlike alphas, who thrive on dominance and control, or betas, who often follow without question, Sigmas move with a quiet confidence that balances out the noise of the extremes. Sigmas are the rare individuals who can step back from the chaos of the crowd and see what everyone else is missing. Their independence isn't selfish, it's measured. They understand that being alone doesn't mean being disconnected, it means recalibrating, thinking deeper, and finding solutions that aren't clouded by outside influence. They're the ones who won't argue for the sake of winning, but will challenge an idea when it serves a greater purpose. Their humility is just as powerful as their strength. While others shout for recognition, Sigmas achieve in silence, making their impact felt long after they've moved on. This quiet approach doesn't make them passive. It makes them unpredictable and, in many ways, unstoppable. Their presence in society acts like gravity, subtle yet essential for keeping everything grounded. In a polarized world, where division feels like the default setting, Sigmas represent the middle path, the rare balance that doesn't just fix problems, but prevents them from spiraling out of control. They are the counterweight in a society that swings wildly between extremes, and it's this understated power that makes them indispensable. Their influence isn't in what they demand, but in the balance they bring, often without anyone realizing it. Number 2, they see the future before others do. Sigmas have an uncanny ability to read the undercurrents of society before they rise to the surface. While others are distracted by the noise of the present, chasing trends, reacting to headlines, and getting caught up in the moment, Sigmas are quietly observing, analyzing, and thinking steps ahead. This detachment from the mainstream isn't indifference. It's a deliberate choice to rise above the short-sighted chaos and focus on the bigger picture. They excel at pattern recognition, picking up on subtle signals that most people miss. Where others see randomness, Sigmas see connections, trends, and possibilities. They understand that the future isn't created in a sudden burst. It's shaped by incremental shifts that most people overlook until they become impossible to ignore. Whether it's a cultural movement, a technological breakthrough, or an economic shift, Sigmas are already preparing for what's next, while the majority are still catching up. This foresight doesn't come from some mystical intuition. It's rooted in their ability to think independently. Sigmas aren't bound by conventional wisdom or popular opinion. They don't follow the crowd, they study it. This freedom from conformity allows them to anticipate change with remarkable clarity. By staying ahead of the curve, they position themselves as innovators, visionaries, and problem solvers who can navigate the future with ease. While the world scrambles to react to the next big thing, Sigmas have already adapted, or more likely, they've been quietly working to shape it. This ability to live ahead of their time isn't just an advantage, it's what makes them indispensable in a rapidly changing world. Their foresight gives them power, not just to predict the future, but to create it on their own terms. Number 3. Builders of self-sustaining ecosystems. Sigmas are masterful architects of systems designed to function and thrive without constant supervision. Unlike leaders who build structures reliant on their personal involvement, Sigmas prioritize independence and sustainability in everything they create. Whether it's a business, a relationship, or a community initiative, their goal is to ensure the system grows and adapts organically, even in their absence. In business, for example, Sigmas often introduce frameworks that empower individuals rather than centralize authority. They focus on building teams that can self-manage, systems that automate routine tasks, and cultures that encourage innovation from the ground up. Their approach is neither micromanagement nor abandonment, it's strategic foresight. They anticipate challenges, create solutions that can scale, and instill a sense of ownership in those around them. In relationships, Sigmas are equally intentional. They value deep connections, but refuse to let dependency take root. Instead, they foster bonds built on mutual respect, individuality, and growth. They encourage their partners to flourish in their own right, creating a dynamic where both parties thrive independently while still deeply connected. When it comes to communities, Sigmas often serve as invisible leaders. They initiate ideas, provide tools, and set processes in motion, but they step back once the foundation is solid. Their impact is felt through the systems they leave behind, strong, adaptive, and capable of evolving with changing circumstances. This ability to create self-sustaining ecosystems sets Sigmas apart. It's not about control or dominance. It's about empowerment and resilience. They operate with the long game in mind, ensuring that what they build doesn't just survive but thrives, grows, and outlasts their direct influence. For a Sigma, true success lies in creating something that no longer needs them but continues to carry their vision forward. Number 4. They understand power better than those who seek it. Sigmas have a unique relationship with power. They don't chase it, but they understand it better than those who do. While others exhaust themselves clawing for authority, recognition, or control, Sigmas take a step back, studying the dynamics at play. They treat power like a chessboard, analyzing every move, every motive, and every potential outcome with a level of precision that most people never even consider. This detachment gives them a tremendous advantage. By refusing to get caught up in the emotional thrill of seeking power, they avoid the pitfalls of ego and impulsivity that often trip up conventional leaders. They recognize that power in its raw form is not about dominance or control, it's about influence. And influence in the hands of a Sigma is wielded subtly and strategically. Sigmas excel at seeing through the noise. They notice the unspoken alliances, the hidden motives, and the blind spots that others overlook. They know when to speak, when to act, and when to remain silent. This calculated approach allows them to influence outcomes without ever needing to be the loudest or most visible figure in the room. Their power comes from their ability to remain grounded and unaffected by the intoxicating allure of authority. They don't need the spotlight, and this makes them unpredictable to those who do. In fact, their disinterest in power for its own sake often makes them the most dangerous player in any scenario. They're not driven by vanity or greed, but by purpose and clarity. Ultimately, Sigmas understand that true power isn't about being at the top of the hierarchy, it's about knowing how to move within it. Their quiet mastery of influence allows them to shape outcomes without ever appearing to do so, making their impact all the more profound. Number 5, they are architects of paradigm shifts, not participants. Sigmas don't waste their time trying to outshine others in systems they know are flawed or outdated. While most people scramble for recognition within existing structures, climbing corporate ladders, chasing accolades, or vying for titles, Sigmas take a completely different approach. They step back, dismantle the framework, and design something entirely new. They're not participants in the game, They're rewriting the rules of the game itself. This ability to create paradigm shifts stems from their unique perspective. Sigmas see the limitations and inefficiencies of current systems with a clarity that others, too entrenched in those systems, can't perceive. They don't look for incremental improvements or ways to play the system better. They question why the system exists in the first place. Their thinking isn't confined by tradition or convention, which allows them to envision possibilities that seem radical to everyone else. Sigmas are the type of people who disrupt industries, challenge societal norms, and inspire revolutions in thought. They're the architects of entirely new ways of doing things. Think of figures like Nikola Tesla or Alan Turing, whose innovations didn't just tweak the world but fundamentally reshaped it. Sigmas don't aim for applause, they aim for transformation. What makes their paradigm shifts so powerful is that they often operate under the radar until the change is inevitable. By the time others catch up, the old system is already obsolete, replaced by something more efficient, effective, or equitable. This doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of their deep thinking, independence, and refusal to settle for surface-level solutions. Sigmas are not here to play by the world's rules. They're here to make better ones. Their legacy isn't about being the best in a broken system. It's about creating a world where no one has to compete in it at all. Number 6, they challenge the concept of success itself. Sigmas approach success in a way that feels almost alien to the rest of the world. While most people define success through societal benchmarks, money, titles, recognition, or material possessions, Sigmas reject these as shallow and fleeting. For them, success isn't something defined by others. It's deeply personal, a journey shaped by internal values rather than external pressures. They view the traditional rat race with detachment, seeing it as a game designed to keep people running in circles rather than achieving anything meaningful. Where others obsess over climbing the corporate ladder or earning public approval, Sigmas quietly carve out their own path. They don't chase applause or trophies, they chase purpose. For them, success is measured by how deeply they've stayed true to themselves and how much of a positive impact they've made, whether or not the world notices. What makes their perspective so revolutionary is how it exposes the fragility of conventional success. Sigmas understand that chasing external validation often leads to burnout, dissatisfaction, and a hollow sense of achievement. They've seen people reach the top of society's ladder only to feel more lost than ever. That's why they focus on fulfillment, on living authentically, mastering their craft, and contributing something of value to the world. This redefinition of success is not just liberating, it's quietly disruptive. By refusing to participate in society's prepackaged version of achievement, Sigmas challenge the very framework that keeps people striving for more while feeling like they have less. Their approach inspires others to rethink what really matters, making their definition of success not just personal, but transformative. To a Sigma, success isn't about winning a race, it's about walking a path that feels genuinely worth taking. Number 7, they are the quiet eccentrics that history celebrates. History has a peculiar way of overlooking brilliance until it's impossible to ignore. Sigmas, with their quiet eccentricity and refusal to conform, are often those hidden gems whose ideas only gain recognition after they've reshaped the world. They aren't the ones making loud proclamations or seeking the spotlight. Instead, they work in silence, driven by passion and an unwavering belief in their vision. Take Nikola Tesla, for example. While others competed for fame and fortune, Tesla was obsessed with invention. His revolutionary contributions to modern electricity weren't born out of a desire for wealth or power, but from a relentless pursuit of innovation. Yet during his lifetime, his genius was largely overshadowed by those more adept at self-promotion. It wasn't until long after his time that the world truly recognized the magnitude of his impact. Similarly, Emily Dickinson wrote nearly 1,800 poems, most of which were unpublished during her lifetime. She didn't write for applause or approval, but because it was an intrinsic part of her being. Her work, quietly penned in the solitude of her Amherst home, became one of the cornerstones of American poetry long after her death. This pattern is common among Sigmas. Their eccentricity isn't for show, it's a natural byproduct of their individuality and refusal to conform to societal expectations. They live on their own terms, creating and innovating not for recognition but because they feel compelled to. What makes Sigmas so extraordinary is their ability to change the world without demanding credit. They don't need to be celebrated to create something worth celebrating. And when the dust of history settles, it is often their quiet brilliance that stands out, proving that true greatness doesn't always shout. It simply works, and eventually the world takes notice. Number 8. They solve problems others don't even see. Sigmas are masters of spotting problems before they even surface. While most people focus on immediate concerns, reacting to visible issues or the ones that are trending, Sigmas think 2 or 3 steps ahead, seeing patterns and potential risks that others miss. Their ability to think independently, unburdened by the assumptions or conventional wisdom that dominate mainstream thought, allows them to identify blind spots in the systems, ideas, or processes that others take for granted. Because Sigmas aren't tethered to the crowd or influenced by the status quo, they have a unique perspective that makes them invaluable problem solvers. They see what's underneath the surface, what's not being said, what's being ignored, and what's going unnoticed. It's not just about fixing problems as they arise. It's about preventing them before they can even develop into full-fledged crises. This ability to think beyond the obvious is what sets Sigmas apart from others. While most people are busy solving problems that are already in the spotlight, Sigmas are quietly dismantling future issues that others haven't even acknowledged. They anticipate challenges, understand the complexities of various situations, and can identify the underlying factors that could lead to greater problems down the road. Moreover, their independence allows them to approach problems without being clouded by the biases or constraints that shape others' thinking. They aren't concerned with fitting into a predetermined narrative or pleasing others. They're focused on what's actually necessary to resolve an issue, even if that means challenging the conventional way of doing things. In a world full of immediate, surface-level reactions, Sigmas stand apart by solving problems that others don't even see, often shaping solutions that are more efficient, more sustainable, and in many cases revolutionary. Their foresight and objectivity make them indispensable in a world that often overlooks the quiet issues bubbling beneath the surface. Number 9. Their detachment creates objectivity, a rare superpower. Sigmas possess a superpower that's often misunderstood: detachment. While society often equates detachment with indifference, for Sigmas, it's the key to their clarity and effectiveness. In a world where emotions and biases often cloud judgment, their ability to remain emotionally uninvolved gives them a perspective that few can match. Where others get caught up in personal conflicts, fleeting trends, or the urgency of the moment, Sigmas step back and observe. They don't rush to react or take sides. They analyze. This detachment doesn't mean they lack empathy or care. It means they prioritize understanding the bigger picture over getting lost in the noise. It's not apathy, it's focus. This objectivity gives Sigmas a unique edge when it comes to problem solving. While others might misdiagnose issues because of their emotional investment, Sigmas excel at identifying the root cause of a problem. They don't waste time treating symptoms or catering to egos. They zero in on solutions that are efficient, logical, and often groundbreaking. Their detachment also shields them from the pitfalls of groupthink and emotional manipulation. Sigmas can resist the herd mentality and make decisions based on what's right, not what's popular. This independence of thought often positions them as the calm voice of reason in chaotic situations, the one who sees opportunities where others see only obstacles. In a world that's constantly overwhelmed by distraction and drama, Sigmas' detachment is their rarest strength. It allows them to cut through the noise, focus on what truly matters, and approach challenges with a level of clarity that others simply can't achieve. It's not just a superpower. It's the foundation of their ability to lead, innovate, and change the world. Number 10. They are immune to manipulation. Sigmas are immune to manipulation in a way that few others are. Their deep self-reliance and emotional independence create a buffer that others can't penetrate. Unlike those who are easily swayed by flattery, promises, or social pressure, Sigmas aren't driven by external validation. Their sense of self is solid, grounded in their own beliefs, values, and understanding of the world. This unwavering internal compass makes them nearly impossible to control, influence, or exploit. What gives them this immunity is a combination of self-awareness and a sharp understanding of human behavior. Sigmas don't just see people for who they are, they see them for who they pretend to be. They have a talent for reading between the lines, spotting manipulation tactics, and recognizing the hidden agendas that others often miss. Because they operate with a clear sense of their own boundaries and priorities, they don't fall prey to the usual tricks and emotional ploys that the world often uses to get what it wants. In the face of power plays or attempts to sway their opinions, Sigmas remain grounded and unaffected. Their detachment from external pressures means they are less likely to be lured by promises of prestige, money, or influence. While others may be tempted by the allure of a persuasive argument or an appealing offer, Sigmas see the game for what it is and navigate it with precision, often opting for what aligns with their values rather than what seems to benefit them in the short term. This resistance to manipulation isn't just an individual strength. It makes Sigmas incorruptible forces of change. In a world where so many are swayed by fleeting temptations or the loudest voices, Sigmas stand firm, unshaken by the currents of influence that often shape society. Their immunity to manipulation allows them to act from a place of integrity, making them the catalyst for change that others can't corrupt or control. Sigmas are the silent architects of transformation, operating beneath the surface, quietly shifting the very fabric of society without ever asking for recognition. They don't chase fame, follow trends, or conform to conventional standards of success. Instead, they think independently, solve problems others can't see, and remain immune to the forces that seek to manipulate or control. Their power lies not in dominance but in subtlety, in their ability to remain grounded while changing the world around them. What makes Sigmas truly exceptional is their unwavering commitment to authenticity and their refusal to be defined by anyone but themselves. They are not just the future, they are the ones who create it. Their influence is a quiet storm, often unnoticed until it's undeniable, reshaping industries, cultures, and lives without ever needing to stand in the spotlight. In a world that often values noise over substance, Sigmas remind us that true power doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need followers to be effective. It simply needs clarity, integrity, and the courage to walk a path that few are brave enough to follow. As we look to the future, it is clear those who dare to be different, think independently, and lead without needing to be seen are the ones who will change the world in ways we can't yet imagine. The Sigmas are already here, and they're quietly making history. If you found yourself inspired by the extraordinary qualities of the Sigma mindset, and if you're ready to see more content that challenges the status quo and sparks new ways of thinking, then don't hesitate, subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you're not just joining a community, you're stepping into a space where unconventional thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of greatness is always front and center. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Join us on this journey, and let's continue to break the mold, think bigger, and change the world, one idea at a time. Hit that subscribe button now and become part of the revolution.